You ever notice how some folks seem to have it all figured out? They're surrounded by people, always laughing, always in the middle of things. And then there's you. Maybe you're standing on the sidelines watching life happen around you. Maybe you're wondering why you don't have a crowd of friends following you everywhere you go. Well, let me tell you something. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it might just be the best thing that ever happened to you. You see, when you don't have a bunch of so-called friends pulling you in every direction, you've got something special. You've got time to think, time to grow, time to figure out who you really are. And that, my friends, is worth more than gold. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Being alone can be tough. It can make you feel like you're missing out, like there's something wrong with you. But let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just on a different path, a path that's going to lead you to greatness. Think about it. All those great minds throughout history, they weren't hanging out at parties every night. They were alone, working on their craft, honing their skills. Einstein didn't come up with the theory of relativity while he was out clubbing. No, he was alone, thinking, questioning, pushing himself to see the world in a way no one else could. And that's what you're doing right now. You're not wasting your time on small talk and gossip. You're investing in yourself. You're building something that's going to last a lot longer than any friendship based on who's got the latest sneakers or who's dating who. Now, I'm not saying you should be a hermit. We all need connection. But what I am saying is that quality beats quantity every single time. One true friend who's got your back, no matter what, is worth 100 fake friends who'll drop you the moment things get tough. So if you're feeling lonely right now, if you're wondering why you don't have a big group of friends, I want you to shift your thinking. Don't see it as a lack. See it as an opportunity to get to know yourself, to figure out what you really want in life, to build the skills that are going to take you places. You've got dreams, don't you? Big dreams, dreams that scare you a little bit because they seem so far out of reach. Well, guess what? Those dreams are going to take work, hard work, the kind of work that doesn't leave much time for hanging out and goofing off. So while everyone else is out there trying to be popular, you're in your grinding. While they're worrying about what everyone thinks of them, you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself. And let me tell you, that's going to pay off in ways you can't even imagine right now. You know, I remember when I was starting out in this business, I didn't have a lot of friends. I spent a lot of time alone working on my craft, studying, practicing. And yeah, sometimes it was hard. Sometimes I wondered if I was missing out. But you know what? That time alone, that's what made me who I am today. Because when you're alone, you've got to face yourself. You've got to deal with your own thoughts, your own fears, your own doubts. And let me tell you, that's where the real growth happens. That's where you find out what you're really made of. So if you're feeling like you don't fit in, like you don't have a big crowd of friends, I want you to remember this. You're not missing out. You're preparing. You're getting ready for something big, something that's going to change your life and maybe even change the world. You see, the world doesn't need more followers. It doesn't need more people who are just going along with the crowd. The world needs leaders. It needs thinkers. It needs doers. And that's what you're becoming right now. While everyone else is busy trying to fit in, you're standing out. You're becoming someone who's going to make a difference. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There are going to be times when you feel lonely, times when you wish you had someone to talk to, someone to share your dreams with. But let me tell you, those times are going to make you stronger. They're going to make you more resilient. They're going to teach you how to rely on yourself. And that's a skill that's going to serve you for the rest of your life. Because at the end of the day, the only person you can truly count on is yourself. So you better make sure that person is strong, that person is capable, that person is ready for whatever life throws at them. You know, I've met a lot of successful people in my time, and you know what they all have in common? They're comfortable being alone. They don't need constant validation from others. They don't need to be surrounded by people all the time. They're happy in their own company because they put in the work to become someone they enjoy spending time with. So if you're feeling like you don't have many friends right now, I want you to see that as a blessing. It's giving you the time and space to become the kind of person who doesn't need a crowd to feel whole, the kind of person who can stand on their own 2 feet and face whatever challenges come their way. Because let me tell you, life is going to throw some curveballs at you. It's going to test you. And when those tests come, it's not going to matter how many friends you have on social media. It's not going to matter how popular you were in high school. What's going to matter is how well you know yourself, how much you've invested in your own growth, how prepared you are to face those challenges head on. And that's what you're doing right now. You're preparing. You're building your foundation. You're creating a life that's going to be able to weather any storm. Now, I know it's not always easy to see the bigger picture when you're in the middle of it. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and forget where you're headed. So I want you to do something for me. I want you to take a moment right now and think about where you want to be in 5 years, and 10 years, and 20 years. What kind of life do you want to be living? What kind of impact do you want to have made? What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? Now hold on to that vision, because that's what you're working towards right now. Every moment you spend alone, every time you choose to work on yourself Instead of going out, you're getting closer to that vision. You're becoming the person who's going to make that vision a reality. And let me tell you, when you're living that life, when you're making that impact, you're going to have all the friends you could ever want. But they're not going to be shallow friendships based on nothing. They're going to be deep, meaningful connections with people who respect you, who admire you, who want to learn from you. Because success attracts success, excellence attracts excellence. When you become the best version of yourself, you naturally draw on people who are on the same path, who share your values, who understand your journey. So don't waste your time trying to fit in with people who don't get you. Don't compromise who you are just to have a few more people to hang out with. Instead, focus on becoming someone worth hanging out with. Someone who has something valuable to offer. Someone who's going places. You know, I've seen it happen time and time again. Someone who was overlooked, who didn't have many friends, who seemed to be on the outside looking in, suddenly they break through. They achieve something great. And all of a sudden, everyone wants to be their friend. Everyone wants to know their secret. But here's the thing. There is no secret. It's just hard work. It's dedication. It's being willing to do what others won't do so you can have what others can't have. So if you're feeling alone right now, if you're wondering why you don't have a big group of friends, I want you to reframe that thought. Don't see it as a lack. See it as an advantage. You got something that most people would kill for time and space to grow. Use that time wisely. Invest in yourself, read books, learn new skills, work on your goals. Because while everyone else is busy socializing, you're busy becoming. And that's going to pay off in ways you can't even imagine right now. You know, life is long. And the funny thing about it is, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about who's the most popular in high school or who has the most friends in college. It's about who's still standing at the finish line, who's achieved their goals, who's made a real difference in the world. And let me tell you, the people who make it to that finish line, they're not the ones who spend all their time trying to be popular. They're the ones who put in the work when no one was watching. They're the ones who are willing to be alone, to be different, to go against the grain. So if that's you right now, if you're feeling like you don't fit in, like you don't have many friends, I want you to hold your head high because you're not falling behind. You're pulling ahead. You're not missing out. You're opting out of the distractions that hold so many people back. And yes, it might be hard right now. It might feel lonely, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Because one day you're going to look back on this time and realize it was the making of you. It was the time when you became the person you were always meant to be. So embrace this time, use it, make the most of it. Because while everyone else is busy trying to fit in, you're busy standing out. And in a world that's crying out for leaders, for innovators, for people who aren't afraid to be different, that's exactly what we need. You know, I've been in this business for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. The ones who stick around, the ones who make a real impact, they're not the ones who were always surrounded by a crowd. They're the ones who are willing to be alone, to be misunderstood, to be underestimated. Because here's the thing, greatness doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from standing out. It comes from being willing to go your own way, to follow your own path, even when no one else understands it. So if you're feeling alone right now, if you're wondering why you don't have many friends, I want you to see that as a sign that you're on the right track, a sign that you're destined for something bigger than just being part of the crowd. You're destined to lead the crowd, to inspire the crowd, to show the crowd what's possible when you're not afraid to be yourself, to work hard, to go after your dreams with everything you've got. And let me tell you, when you're living that kind of life, when you're making that kind of impact, you won't have to worry about having friends. People will be lining up to be part of your world. They'll be drawn to your energy, your passion, your success. But here's the beautiful thing. By then, you won't need them to validate you. You won't need their approval or their acceptance because you'll have something much more valuable, self-respect, self-confidence, and knowledge that you've built something real, something lasting, something that matters. So don't waste your time trying to be popular. Don't waste your energy trying to fit in with people who don't get you. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on your goals, your dreams, your vision for your life. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. It's not about how many friends you have. It's about the impact you make. It's about the lives you touch. It's about the difference you make in the world. And let me tell you, one person who's truly living their purpose can make a bigger impact than 1,000 people who are just going through the motions. One person who's not afraid to stand alone can change the course of history. So if that's you, if you're that person who's willing to stand alone, to go your own way, to pursue your dreams no matter what anyone else thinks, I want you to know this. You're not alone. You're part of a long line of trailblazers, of innovators, of people who dared to be different. And the world needs you. It needs your ideas, your passion, your unique perspective. It needs the things that only you can bring to the table. So don't be discouraged by your lack of friends. Don't let it hold you back or make you doubt yourself. Instead, use it as fuel. Let it drive you to work harder, to push further, to become the kind of person who doesn't need a crowd to feel whole. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many friends you have. It's about who you are. It's about what you stand for. It's about the difference you make in the world. And if you stay true to yourself, if you keep working hard, if you keep pushing towards your goals, I promise you this. You'll end up with something far more valuable than a big group of friends. You'll end up with a life you're proud of, a life that matters, a life that makes a difference. So embrace this time. Use it. Make the most of it. Because while everyone else is busy trying to fit in, you're busy becoming someone who's going to change the world. And there's nothing more valuable than that. You know, I've met a lot of successful people in my time, and you know what they all have in common? They're not afraid to be alone. They're not afraid to be different. They're not afraid to go their own way. Because here's the truth. If you want to do something extraordinary, you've got to be willing to do things that ordinary people won't do. You've got to be willing to make sacrifices that ordinary people aren't willing to make. And sometimes that means being alone. It means spending Friday nights working on your craft while everyone else is out partying. It means saying no to distractions so you can say yes to your dreams. But let me tell you, it's worth it. Because when you're willing to be alone, when you're willing to put in the work when no one else is watching, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to see real progress. That's when you start to become the person you were always meant to be. So if you're feeling alone right now, if you're wondering why you don't have many friends, I want you to see that as a gift. It's giving you the time and space to focus on what really matters. It's giving you the opportunity to invest in yourself, to build your skills, to pursue your passions. And yes, it might be hard right now. It might feel lonely, but I promise you it's going to pay off. Because one day, you're going to look back on this time and realize it was the making of you. It was the time when you became the person who could achieve your dreams. So don't waste this time. Don't spend it feeling sorry for yourself or wishing things were different. Instead, use it. Make the most of it. Because while everyone else is busy trying to fit in, you're busy becoming someone extraordinary. And let me tell you, when you're living an extraordinary life, when you're making a real impact in the world, you won't have to worry about having friends. People will be drawn to you. They'll want to be part of your world. They'll be inspired by your passion, your dedication, your success. But here's the beautiful thing. By then, you won't need them to validate you. You won't need their approval or their acceptance because you'll have something much more valuable, self-respect, self-confidence, the knowledge that you've built something real, something lasting, something that matters. So if you're feeling alone right now, if you're wondering why you don't have many friends, I want you to see that as a sign that you're on the right track, a sign that you're destined for greatness. Because the truth is, the people who change the world, the ones who make a real difference, they're not the ones who are always surrounded by a crowd. They're the ones who are willing to stand alone, to go against the grain, to do what others won't do so they can have what others can't have. So embrace this time, use it, make the most of it. Because while everyone else is busy trying to fit in, you're busy becoming someone who's going to change the world. And there's nothing more valuable than that. You know, life is funny. It doesn't always give you what you want, but it always gives you what you need. And right now, what you need is this time alone. This time to focus on yourself, to build your skills, to pursue your dreams. So don't waste it. Don't spend it feeling sorry for yourself or wishing things were different. Instead, use it, make the most of it. Because this time alone, this time when you're not surrounded by friends, this is the time when you're going to become the person you were always meant to be.